Now to a GMA Health Alert on headaches. A new study finds nearly 3 billion people worldwide, that's nearly 1 of every 3 people on the planet, has a headache disorder. Our chief medical correspondent, Dr. Narula, is here with more. This was a huge study.
Yes, this was a study that looked at the time frame of 1990 to 2023, and they in fact found what you exactly said, which is that in 2023, 3 billion people suffer from headaches, and that statistic has not changed since the 1990s, over the past 30 years. They looked at 3 different types of headaches: migraine, tension headaches, and medication overuse headaches. And they found a few things. So tension headaches tend to be the most common, equally affecting men and women. And migraines, however, which are a little bit less common, are really responsible for 90% of the disability associated with headaches. And that is because migraine symptoms tend to last longer, sometimes for days, and they have other symptoms other than the headache, for example, nausea or dizziness. When they looked at the genders, they found that women, by and large, are twice as likely to suffer disability from headaches, again, because they tend to be more affected by migraines. 1 out of 5 of these headaches is medication overuse. So that's really important, because that's something that we could potentially prevent by counseling patients on how to use the medications appropriately. And so this was a really kind of overarching study that was very helpful in terms of putting into perspective the headache types.
You have experience with migraines. Can they be prevented? How are they treated?
Yeah, so unfortunately, I've had one actually for the last 2 days, and I can tell you every migraine sufferer will say it is not just a headache. 2 days, yeah, and I think that's really important to say. You know, can come and go. The symptoms can last 4 to 72 hours, and 12% of Americans have migraines. Again, women more than men. It tends to run in families. I remember seeing my mom growing up in a dark room saying, "I can't be with you right now because I'm suffering from a migraine." And of course, in my 40s, I developed it. And so it really, we think about it in 4 stages. There's the prodrome, which happens about a day or 2 before the actual headache, where you can feel mood changes, food cravings, constipation, exhaustion. Then that some people, about 25%, get an aura, where you actually have vision changes. You may have neurologic symptoms that can mimic a stroke, for example, numbness, tingling. I remember one day in my office looking at my computer screen and seeing zigzag lights, calling my husband and saying, "I'm either having a stroke or this is a migraine." So it can be really scary. Then the actual headache, which can last from 4 to 72 hours. And then the postdrome, which comes afterwards, where you really feel tired and fatigued. So it's a really long, drawn-out process. It can be triggered, George, by a lot of things. So hormone changes, stress, changes in how you're eating, skipping meals, dehydration, lack of sleep, even certain foods, aged cheese, certain wines, chocolate, can all be triggers. And in terms of prevention, in treatment, we really think of lifestyle and medication. So there are medications to prevent, things like antidepressant type medications, anti-seizure, certain blood pressure medicines, and then we think about treatment meds. So we have things like Nurtec and Ubrelvy, which are newer drugs, non-steroidal anti-inflammatories, Excedrin, Tylenol, even Botox can sometimes be used as a preventative medication. And then lifestyle. So some people will go into a dark, quiet room, use cold or hot compresses. Caffeine can help, so drinking a cup of coffee can sometimes help? Yes, caffeine can actually help. Actually, Excedrin has caffeine in it. And then really prevention also around exercise, eating healthy, sleeping, and trying to avoid some of those fluctuating changes.
How are you feeling now?
This morning, I'm better. Thank you.
Good. And I could tell, because there was time that I could almost see in your eyes sometimes when I've been around you going, I could tell that there was something that wasn't feeling.
It just feels like almost like a vice on your head, but thank you.